Hi everyone. I hope you're all well and thriving in your own ways. This past year has been unlike anything any of us have known, and it certainly turned our music industry upside down and pulled the economic rug out from under our community of artists and entrepreneurs. Last April, when we were just a month into the pandemic, we announced the cancellation of all in-person events and our decision to switch to an online conference this past February. Today's message is an update on where we're at now and a look to the near future and the year ahead. Specifically, I'd like to address 4 items: our plan for next year's conference, our continued year-round activities, our cultural equity work, and our financials. But first, I want to take a moment to celebrate what a creative, innovative, and dynamic year we've all had. I don't want to diminish how challenging and painful the year was in so many overlapping and compounding ways, but rather to acknowledge that across the field, there were many silver linings, beautiful lessons learned, new connections made, and in the forced pause and pivot, there were opportunities to reflect, reimagine, and reinvent. For us, the shining reinvention was the daunting task of pivoting to online services and content and transforming our conference into a virtual event, which drew over 3,000 people, was our most diverse event to date in terms of formal program representation, and saw a dramatic increase in international attendance. What stood out was that more than the technical success of the event that could have been very clinical, it felt like home and community again. We laughed, cried, listened, learned, leaned in, and sang. Somehow our little blue screens came to life anew with friends, peers, and colleagues reconnecting, and you should all be proud of the joy we brought each other by showing up as we did in the chats, in breakout rooms, and in our funky digital receptions. Speaking of the conference, we hope you will take a moment to enjoy the post-conference report we've just released. And we invite you to join us as we continue to gather online in the months to come, especially as we convene our peer and affinity groups on a more regular basis. Which brings us to our next conference. While we can't control the impact, timeline, or restrictions related to the pandemic, as an organization, we know that our next steps are to support the vibrant return of our sector, and that we need to take responsible risks and to lead by example in reopening safely while maintaining a more robust online presence. As such, we're happy to announce that we will indeed be hosting an in-person conference next year here in Kansas City during the week of February 21st, along with parallel online elements. We know that an in-person conference will have limitations, that we will have to limit attendance, and that elements will need to be modified to ensure everyone's safety. But it will once again be a place to connect, learn, showcase, and do business in person. We know that it will take time to rebuild, that not everyone will be able to attend in person next year, and that access and some aspects of our event actually benefit from being online. As a result, we're also committed to providing virtual access content through an interactive hybrid model. To help us plan and customize this hybrid event and to meet your needs, we've circulated a survey so we can better understand your collective interests and concerns as it relates to both an in-person and online showcase event in 2022. If you'd like to be part of a focus group, we ask you to complete the survey and to fill in a form to register for those groups. We're also working with Majestic Collaborations to publish an industry guide for safe reopening, which we will model with our event. This project is supported by the Performing Arts Readiness Grant, funded by the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation. For members who are keen to start planning their safe return to the conference, as of May 1st, we are opening registration to the in-person portion of the event. As of June 1st, it will be open to non-members also. Registration for online-only access will be later in the year. I'm sure you're wondering about performances at the hotel. So we do plan to host official showcases in the ballrooms and a modified version of private showcases, even though at this stage it means hosting them in spaces other than hotel guest rooms. We'll be opening showcase application opportunities for artists in September. Beyond the conference, we have many public and behind-the-scenes activities to tend to. As a membership organization, we exist to serve our members. At this time last year, we extended all memberships at no cost until February to relieve a financial burden for the community hard hit. Our new universal start date for all memberships was March 1st, and we invite those who are able to renew their memberships to do so now. We've also introduced a new payment plan option to make it easier to spread out the cost. Additionally, we've started to program some exclusive events and content for our members, starting with our Between the Lines interview series on the last Tuesday of the month, which this season features intimate conversations with Kronos Quartet, the Warren Treaty, Eliza Gilkison, and Ray Zaragoza, followed by an online reception in Bramble. More than ever, it is important that our organization is there to preserve, promote, and present folk music. This means being visible as an organization, being at the table in industry discussions, and being part of the national conversation when it comes to advocacy and legislative issues. Rest assured that in every way possible, we will continue to make sure that the folk music community and genre is represented in the most proactive, professional, and high-profile way. Thinking more broadly about the future, paramount to our evolution and growth as an organization and community is a steadfast commitment to racial equity, diversity, inclusion, and access. And central to it is a demonstrated focus on anti-racism. This work is not about a statement or a portion of our program. It's about an ongoing examination of ourselves as an industry, an organization, as leaders, and at a personal level, as individuals. For Folk Alliance, this means galvanizing our ideals into programs and policies. To that end, currently our full board and staff are engaged in a year-long cultural equity review being facilitated by BIPOC-owned and led Team Dynamics, who are based in Minneapolis. This comprehensive work involves extensive training, ongoing coaching, and a review of all our core documents and internal processes. Joining us in this journey are our two Cultural Equity Council co-conveners, Karima Dowdy and Dom Flemons, in preparation for community consultations they'll hold this fall. All of this work will inform the creation of our next strategic plan, which will develop next January. Our fiscal year end is June 30th, and despite all odds and challenges, I'm elated to share with you that we have managed to minimize our losses in what would otherwise have been a catastrophic year. This was done by cutting costs and programs, securing emergency relief funding, exceeding revenue forecasts for our online conference, for which attendees could choose their own registration price, including free, and with the generosity of our community, including anonymous angel donors. We're tremendously grateful for every contribution made this past year, and I invite you to take a moment to appreciate everyone listed on our website's donor wall. That said, we know that the impact of the pandemic is far from over, and that the community we serve is still in need and struggling, be that venues, artists, or the many passionate people who work in the symbiotic ecology that is the folk music industry. We also know that it will be harder for us as an organization to secure and sustain the same level of emergency and community support in the second year of the pandemic. While we will begin to fundraise towards ambitious goals again starting July 1st, we still anticipate losing over $200,000 next year, which we will draw from our reserve. Speaking of losses, we know that the folk community is still in need and that economic recovery will take time. To help address this, we've launched the Village Fund, through which we're providing $500 grants to any folk music industry entrepreneur or artist experiencing financial hardship at this time. Fundraising will continue year-round for the Village Fund, and our first round of applications will open soon. We're also mindful of the needs of our regional affiliates and the challenges that they have been through this year. We continue to work with our regional leaders to ensure that there is a cohesive, consistent, and collaborative Folk Alliance family, and that we determine the best ways as staff to support them logistically and administratively. In closing, we're excited about the future, and we are here to support your return and our industry's recovery. We often talk about our organization as a house, that we've been opening the doors and windows to so that everyone has shelter in a storm. As this seemingly endless storm ebbs and flows, we realize that we have some repairs and renovations to do, and we ask you to lend a hand as we take these on. To bring you inspiration, we're excited to soon be revealing our annual Artist in Residence project, which we've playfully recoined Artists in Their Residence this year. In partnership with Grammy Award winner Chris Thiele, we've commissioned 20 artists to co-write 10 new songs across borders, cultures, and languages to reflect on the pandemic. Leadership is not always about growth and increases. Sometimes it's about resilience and rejuvenation. Just as we will try to manage our own expectations of what we can accomplish, we invite you to join us in addressing self-care as organizations and community members. One way to do that is to take in some of our Mental Health Month programming throughout May, and to stay connected with the people who move and inspire you. Speaking of great people, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge and once again thank our incredible team, including Jennifer Rowe, Alex Mallet, Jared Rivers, Marissa Kolka, Fawn Lies, Tressa Levasseur, and Michelle Conceição, as well as our interns, Sarah Goujon and Bethany Buchanan. They have been deeply committed to upholding our mission and uplifting the community this past year. I'd also like to thank our board of directors for their steadfast support and stewardship. They reflect you, the depth and breadth of our full community, and what a community it is. Finally, thank you all for checking in, for staying connected and involved, and for what you do. We'll see you online soon and in person next February here in Kansas City.